Hi, I'm Sandi Genovese, and today we are converting ordinary lunch sacks into these fun little mini books. You know, if you're like me, you probably love to craft. And what a fun thing, the joy of crafting to pass down to your children. And I think one of the best ways for that to happen is for you to occasionally do projects that they can do as well and that they can keep. So this little scrapbook is meant to be inexpensive enough and quick and easy to make so that they can take it to school for sharing, and if it gets lost, it's not a problem. Or if it gets messy fingerprints, it's not a problem. Because it's gonna be, you'll see, it's just made with ordinary lunch bags. Here's the cover, and I haven't started to put the actual decoration or the information inside yet. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to turn this one into Halloween. I've added an inside cover. The pages inside are just lunch bags, and I've used each of the sacks to hold what will be a scrapbook page. The fact that the page comes in and out means it will be protected. It also means that if you decide you want to add souvenirs, you can also add all kinds of other three-dimensional things that can go into these bags. Notice that the way that my bags are attached is with staples, and we're going to see how to do that even if you don't have a long neck stapler. Now, to begin with, we want to start with the bags. So if you go to the produce section of the store, you may end up with an assortment. I bring my produce home in bags like this, and I save them to reuse them. This is a perfect way to reuse those bags. You do want all of them to be the same size. So I've gone ahead and I've taken one bag. Let's just start with one. This is the bag size that I use because this is the one I had the most of, which is, I think of it as the normal lunch size paper bag. I think if you buy a batch of them in the store, this is the size that most commonly you'll see. First thing you want to do is you want to trim out the bottom. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm separating the bag, and I'm going to just cut right along the edge of the bottom. And I'm going to come around the corner, and I'm going to lift this so that I only cut this section, only the bottom itself. So I'll come around and I'll cut. I have my scissors inside there. I'll cut this and then I'll show you what I did. You can see I just stuck my scissors in between. Now I'm going to come to this edge and I'll do the same thing. I'm going to cut off the bottom by just cutting barely along the edge of the bag. And now, and this time I'll show you before I get in, I'm going to put my scissors in between the layers in order to cut off the bottom, and only to cut this bottom section. So I'll put my scissors in there and cut this. And what that does is that means that I'm just getting rid of the bottom. Probably there's some fun use for this. I'm not sure what. So I'm likely to hold on to that. Who knows why? And then what you're going to do is take the bag. It will look like this, and you're going to go back and fold it how it originally came. So I'm going to take these little triangles, push them back like so into what this funnel shape that the bag started as. I usually go over to the paper trimmer and then trim this off so that I don't have these scruffy edges. So I'll do this with my scissors, but in order to get it straight, I normally would walk over to the paper trimmer and trim all these together with the paper trimmer, where I line this edge up, and that means this edge will be straight. Once you have those, you want those little tabs that make it easy to pull the pages in and out of each bag, and I did that just with a circle punch. I happen to use a 1.5 inch circle punch. I find roughly the middle. Notice that I've marked the back of my punch. Half of this, if I want a half circle, I know if I line the paper up with these marks, I just did that with a permanent marker, just a Sharpie pen. So I'm going to center it on my bag, line it up, punch out that end, and then turn this around. Do the same thing with this end. Line up the bag and cut. And that gives an easy way for kids to be able to get in there. You're going to want to do this with a stack of bags. Now, how many bags you put is based on how many photos or how many souvenirs you want to store. So in this case, I think I have 3 bags, and I've already punched out the holes on each end. You're going to stack them so they're all stacked together, and then just fold them right down the middle. Get a nice crease. Once you have that fold line, then open it up, and at this stage I'm going to go ahead and staple it. So I need a thick piece of cardboard, or if you have foam core, it will work. If you look at the side, you can see it's going to work well because it's nice and thick. And I'm going to take my stapler and open it up, which will allow me to staple right into the middle. If I take and I place the bag, the stack of bags, so that the folds are all aligned, and then I place them over the cardboard, and I'll go ahead and I'll line up the first staple with the fold line and staple right into the cardboard, and then I'll come down and I'll do the same thing on this end, staple again, and you might even want to put a third staple in the middle. Once you have the staples, when I pull this off of the cardboard, those prongs are going to be sticking straight up. At this point, you need to turn those, flatten those out. So I just take a pencil eraser and I'll start with the bottom one and just flatten the prongs of the stapler. This allows you to staple anything you want to, even if you don't have a long neck stapler. Anywhere in the middle, it works great. So at this point, when I close this up, I have my bags all stapled together. Even this would work and could be decorated just like this. But if you want to add a little more design, you can then add decoration. And what I did was I took and I just, based on the size of your bag, you want to come in and create a cover. Now my cover is 11 inches long and the width is 5 1/4. Because that was the size that worked for my bags. I came in and I marked the middle, and then I came just a 1/16 of an inch both ways and put 2 score lines so that when I ended up folding them, I have an 1/8 inch spine. The 1/8 inch is just, and it ends up being right in the middle. And an 1/8 inch is just about the right thickness that I need for once I have this to sit inside. And then, of course, I need to remember that I'm also going to have photos and maybe souvenirs in there. So that thickness is going to work. All I need to do is I'm going to attach it to the front and to the first page and the last page. However, I think it's easier to decorate the cover before you have all those other pages inside. So if you look at the one that I've done here, I started with more, this was just mailing paper because it matched kind of the look of the paper bag. So I cut it so it would fit the cover, and then I'm going to just tear it. So if I come along, basically, I don't know, maybe 2/3 of the way, and I want it to look torn, so I'm going to purposely try to make it, you know, not too completely straight. And once I have the torn edge, I'm going to go ahead, I'll put adhesive on the back. And I know I've said this so many times, but you're probably going to want more adhesive than this. This is just enough to hold it together so you can see how I built it. And then I'll line this up with the bottom and the sides and press down. Now on mine, I added polka dots. My white Jelly Roll pin is great, but if you want to make this with the kids and you want it to go together really quickly, you can get a whiteout pin. And you can get it so that it's very quick and easy to create nice big dots. And all you have to do is put a little pressure and squeeze at the same time. Now I'm not going to bother to do the whole thing because I'm going to add decoration in the middle. But you can see how quickly you can put together just these fun sort of funky dots that create a nice polka dot pattern. And if you don't know what's going to go in the center, you can go ahead and add those too. But as I said, I know that I'm going to be adding other decoration in there. It's going to take a little tiny bit of time because those are nice and thick to dry. So let's build the next layer. And for the time being, let's look at creating the pocket that goes on the cover. If you look at this, you can see that I've got this card that I want to be able to slide in and out. And I want for it to happen, you know, so that it's not difficult to do. In order to do that, I need some thickness in here to accommodate the thickness of my double tag. So I've cut one tag, and then I've just cut a slightly larger tag that gives me that red border all the way around. You can use a die cut. My gosh, tags, you just see tags everywhere. So a die cut, or I've even seen stickers of tags. Sometimes if it's around the holidays, the closer we get to the holidays, you'll find all kinds of, gift tags that can be put to use for this as well. So I'm going to just nest the lighter one into the darker one to create this element. And I've created the pocket simply by placing foam adhesive and on this little strip of green, and I just need to make sure that this can slide in and out. So I've trimmed down. I started with Staples. This is a 3M foam adhesive, and it comes in a big roll, and this is how wide it is. And I just, with my scissors, I went in and cut this into thirds, strips that were a third as wide, in order to give me the skinniness that allows me to compensate for the width of this tag. Now, in order to make the tag slide in and out easily, because this is going to slide in and out like this, I want to take a ribbon. All I'm going to do is take the ribbon and thread it through the hole. I usually start with a little bit longer than I need because it makes it much easier. I'm going to take the ends of the ribbon and pull it through the loop and then pull tight. You can look at this and see if you like this side better or if you like this side better. So depending on which way whether you put the loop through from the back or from the front, you'll get those two options. And then this is going to get attached to the cover. Before we do that, I want to put down the red, the 2 shades of red. So let's see if this is dry enough that I can go ahead and add my red stripes. So I'm going to place the lighter. For some reason I can see some yuck on there, so I think I'm going to go off the edge a little bit, which will allow me to trim off the part that's looking a little funny and get this sort of evenly spaced. Press down, and then I'll trim off the excess. If you want to, you could fold this around and decorate the backside as well. I didn't do that on mine, so I'll go ahead and trim off the excess just so that it matches. And then I'm going to put adhesive on the darker red and attach that so that it really stands out. And once again, I'm going to trim off the excess. And now it's time to attach the tag that's in the pocket. All I'm going to do is just remove, I'll use tweezers so you can see, I'm going to just pull the backing off of the foam adhesive. I'll get rid of the tag for now. But actually, there's no reason I might not just leave it in. And then go ahead and, well, it'll be easier if I do this without it. So I'm going to go ahead and place this so that it's looks like it's fairly centered. I think actually that it would look best if the green up here goes off the edge, and you can see I like the look of that going around the edge. So at this point then I can go ahead, slide in my tag, press down, and you can see how easy it was to put the cover together. Now it's simply a question of placing adhesive on this bag. Remember, you're going to put much more adhesive than that. This is just enough so that it will hold together. And I'm going to go ahead and push for that to hold. I'll put adhesive on the back side of the bag. Not near enough adhesive, but enough for this exercise. And push. You can see how it's going to create this really cool cover. Now you have a couple of options. If you want to use the first bag as one of the places where you're going to store something, then you want to leave it just like I've done. I kind of think that gives you the most number of pages, which I sort of think I like the best. But I wanted to experiment a little. So with this one, I did go back and I created an inside cover by just cutting another piece and trapping the first bag inside the front covers, and I did the same thing with the back side. It does add a little bit of sturdiness and thickness, but it also uses one of what will be the pages inside your scrapbook. And that quickly and easily you can create this fun paper bag mini book. This is using it for, I think I'm going to turn this into Halloween. I wanted to show, because these pages come in and out, wouldn't this be a fun way for kids to put the wrappers from when they went trick-or-treating, and then they could add the photos of what they look like in their costume. Oh, I'm excited to think what I might want to turn this into, what theme. Here is one that I started, and I haven't put the photos in it yet, but I've gone ahead and I've decorated this one for summer. If your kids are going back to school and they're going to write an essay on what they did for summer, wouldn't it be nice to make color copies of the vacation photos and put them in a little scrapbook like this that they could then take to school to show what they did on their summer vacation? You know, it's easy to convert ordinary lunch bags into a unique mini book, and it's great for holding both photos and souvenirs.